What is going on, guys? This is Bradley alongside Zach, and you are listening to the Charm City Sideline Podcast. Help us out and like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. And obviously, tonight we will be breaking down the Ravens' 27-19 win over the Vikings. Ravens improved to 4-5. Minnesota falls to 4-5. What's up, Charles? What's up, David? How are you doing, Zach? How do you feel after this game?
I feel really good. And this is a resilient win. It's the first time we've seen the Ravens get really tested even from the jump. They start off with a score and we get smacked, and you see the Ravens of the past take shape where they get the running game going, start controlling the time. Turnovers like mad were the best plays of the game to me. And man, I was just so pumped to see really the defense pulled the offense out of the gutter this time. There wasn't any Lamar Jackson bailing out. Honestly, there wasn't a lot of Lamar Jackson special stuff today. There's a couple great passes in there, obviously, but overall, it was just a different looking win than we're used to of the last, I would say, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it felt like a normal football game win. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't a crazy comeback.
Yeah.
It just felt like a normal win. And that was my first thought when the game ended. So that was kind of cool. Vikings obviously scored first. They had a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. I believe this was the Marlon Humphrey drive where you have a 3rd and 6 and Humphrey gives up 10 yards to Jefferson on an out route. And then 3rd and 4, McCarthy hits Jalen Naylor down the sideline for 62 yards, Zach. He breaks a couple tackles and gets all the way down to the 4. Jalen Naylor today, Zach, 5 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. He was the best receiver today for the Vikings. They cap off that drive with an Aaron Jones 4-yard run. I guess what were your thoughts on the first quarter in this one? Ravens end up getting a field goal there at 7-3, but how do you feel after the first quarter in this game?
Well, there's a similar storyline happening with the Ravens, at least in the first quarter. I feel like they all feel the same. It's all this offense is trying to get used to it. They might get a scoring drive or two, but it won't be these dominant move the ball, control the clock, everything like that. This was probably the worst yet. It was start off with a punt, and I think they said the Vikings had allowed an opening drive touchdown the last 4 games. So there was just stats to say that we would have started hot. And again, we started out slow and kind of lean. This was the start of the lean on the defense, and it ended up being a full sit down on the defense. But yeah, there was a lean, I guess, in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was an interesting start. I mean, it feels like the Ravens have given up a touchdown on every single drive. Every single opposing team's first drive this year. I don't think it's been every single game, but it feels like it has.
Me too. Yeah.
So that obviously sucks. The Ravens' first 4 drives today, 3 of them, they went 3 and out. So, like you mentioned, defense really kind of carried today.
Should we say and special teams too?
Yeah,
say that too?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely special teams because you have Keandre Jackson forcing the fumble on special teams.
Yeah.
You have Loop making 4. I mean, he went 4 or 5. You'd probably take a 4 or 5 day. And that, he missed from 56. He had a long of 44. Keaton and LeJohntay looked good on returns, in my opinion. I think LeJohntay had a 19-yard punt return as his only punt return today. So special teams definitely looked good as well. The Vikings got a field goal to go up 10-3. McCarthy, of course, hit the man of the hour, Jalen Naylor, for 18, and then they ended up getting to the 31, kicked a field goal. And then you have the Ravens go 3 and out again, like I mentioned. And this is the Malachi Starks interception, Zach. With how much was left here? 6:47 left in the second quarter. It's 3rd and 6, and McCarthy goes deep. I apologize if you don't exactly remember, but I felt like McCarthy really could have ran on that 3rd and 6 when he stepped up, and he chucked it down the field to, I believe it was double coverage. Starks got the pick over Jefferson, Interesting decision there. I don't know if it was Roquan or Simpson or Buchanan that was sort of coming up, but I really felt like McCarthy could have got that first if he just ran for it.
And I think there's a bunch of times that he could have ran just
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general, not even counting that. I didn't even notice that one, which I guess I laugh at as well. But I think this was one of the couple of plays where he was just trying to do McCarthy was just trying to get Jefferson the ball and add to, him being the reason they would win this game. It felt like it was forced, both interceptions, even, fast forward to a little bit later. But this one was just a rougher chance. The last one feels very, very forced. But this one was Malachi Starks making the incredible catch once again. He is making crazy freaking
Yeah.
plays on the ball. If he's getting near the ball, it feels like he's freaking gobbling it up. I love it. And it feels great to finally see Malachi jump off the page as a rookie now and coupling in full now Teddy Buchanan and Mike Green, how
Mhm.
much we've seen from those two.
Yeah, we talked about this last week after Starks had the pick against Miami. Really, really good ball skills. He can go sideline to sideline when the ball's up in the air, and makes a
Hawk.
bit of a juggling interception on this one. So what's up, Eli? What's up, Nate Blake? So that was great to see. Obviously the announcers were wrong. They said it was Starks' first career interception. He had one 10 days ago, second career interception from Malachi Starks. So really coming to his own. For anyone who thought he was a bust already, learn how to be a little bit more patient, I guess. The Ravens get another. So yeah, Loop kicked 4 field goals today because the Ravens get another field goal in the second quarter, and they kicked this with 1:11 left. These drives, not much was notable. This was the Keaton Mitchell 22-yard run. So we talked about this last week, Zach. Keaton Mitchell being on the field, obviously a lot more explosiveness. It's it's an awesome compliment to Derrick Henry because, in 2023 when we saw Keaton Mitchell playing, that was with Gus Edwards, and obviously Gus Edwards was a good running back, basically averaged 5 yards a carry for his whole career. But Derrick Henry's a different beast, and getting hit in the mouth by Derrick Henry every single play, and then Keaton Mitchell just comes in and runs by everyone. That would be really tough to deal with.
It's nice.
Yeah, but the Ravens' drive stalls here again. So the red zone offense was not good today. Do you have any thoughts there? I mean, they did get in the end zone twice, but
Okay, who would you rather blame for this? Would you rather just blame the personnel and maybe even Lamar, or would you rather blame I've heard conservative play calling from Munkin. I think we even have a chat here from Nate. Yeah, about Munkin can't find the end zone. I mean, what do you think?
yeah, I'm trying to find when the other drive was where they didn't convert. They were at like the 4 or the 5 or something.
Just look at all the field goal plays, though. All these
Yeah,
play-by-plays that we're seeing,
yeah. There's
field
so
goal
many field
40
goals.
yards, field goal
Yeah,
68 yards, field goal 63 yards, field goal 67 yards. Like, there was so many long drives
long
that just
drives.
ended in field goals. So, sure, you can say didn't find the end zone like that, but it just felt like we kept stalling.
Yeah. So I found the drive, by the way, and we're really jumping around right now. But this was the Ravens' first drive of the third quarter. It was a 6-play, 67-yard drive, and Lamar hit Flowers for 22, who had a great game today. Then hit Kolar for 23, who had a good game today. And then they have first and goal at the 4. And my dad and I are watching the game, and we're both like, they're just going to give it to Henry up the middle. He's going to get nothing. And then it's going to be second and goal at the 4. Guess what? That is exactly what happened. Second and goal at the 4. Then they run play action, incomplete. And then Lamar tries to get the ball to Likely, incomplete, and they kick a field goal. I don't know. I feel like you can get a little more creative. You asked who I'm blaming more. I mean, you don't watch those plays back and like, oh, Lamar missed someone wide open. Like, you're not.
That's
That's not happening.
Mhm.
So you can blame the O-line too for Derrick Henry not being able to get a yard. Even when you're at the 4-yard line, you should be able to get a push down to the 2 or the 1 at least, and they can't even get anything there. I think you can cook something up with Keaton Mitchell, cook something up, get Lamar on the move. I don't know, zone read. Obviously, Lamar's hammy's doing really well because he had a couple designed runs today, so you can incorporate that. I don't know, man. it's been really difficult this year. It's definitely been unfortunate. But the flip side is, Zach, they did kick a lot of field goals today, and
True.
they didn't go for it on like 4th and shorts and miss all
Yeah,
of them and
yeah.
lose. Like, I feel like this was a very classic example of like, this felt like, and I'm not talking about the feel of the game, but like the way the game went. This is like a playoff game that the Ravens lose. Like,
Mm.
they would go for it on all these 4th downs, not get it. Um, Lamar really took what was given to him today. He was 17 for 29, 176 and a touchdown. Didn't force anything, threw the ball away a couple times. Like, this was the performance that you want to see the Ravens make in the playoffs. I understand. I see a lot of people on Twitter not very happy with the performance because, of the offense. You force 3 turnovers and you still have to get a stop at the end on defense.
Mm.
But I think it's encouraging to see the Ravens win this way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the best way to put it is resilient. I was gonna say it was a coaching battle, but the what was it, 7 or 8 false starts in this game? That that also blew the game open. It was like they'd get this nice first down conversion the first time for the Vikings, and then just smack themselves. It was 1st and 10, 1st and 15, almost every time. There was a 4th down at one point, moved them back even longer, and I still think they got the touchdown. But a lot of false starts, and we got some breaks in there, along with the defense standing true. You did, cause some of those breaks. It's like you said, it's just like it was a normal football game. It's the ones that you watch, at 3 o'clock, right after this one, and you're like, ooh, good ending. Like that, yeah, that seems like a regular NFL game because there wasn't any super special moves honestly from Lamar, and there wasn't any ridiculous plays, on either side. So the defenses decided to go to war against each other. It was amazing. It was fun. And we are just not used to seeing that. And I loved having a little mix up in a Ravens week here against a quality opponent.
Yeah, I agree. One of these touchdown drives was the Bateman had the drop in the end zone, which it
Ooh,
was a little
yeah.
bit behind him. But then they hit Bateman on a short hitch and he comes around and almost scores. And right there, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking like Bateman looked like sometimes when Bateman runs a route, gets the ball in time, makes a play, I'm like, bro, this guy looks elite. Like that play right there when Bateman had the
Hmm.
10-yard catch and was tackled at the 1, I'm like, he looks explosive and twitchy on that play. And sometimes I just think like, why don't the Ravens do more things with him like that? I know Bateman's on pace to have like 300 yards this season. Like it's
Poor guy.
been pretty underwhelming, but it hasn't been like a bad season from him. I feel like it's kind of just been he hasn't really seen the opportunities, and he was a major deep threat last year. Hasn't really had those either. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. 1st and goal at the 1, they run it in with Justice Hill, just because they
Yeah.
haven't. And I believe they were in shotgun. Yeah, so not much success. Derrick Henry under center. They go shotgun and they run with Justice Hill. Pretty easy touchdown there. 1st and goal at the 1. That was interesting. I'm not
Well,
saying Justice.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
go ahead.
it's interesting because what in the world is the difference between blocking for Derrick Henry and that and blocking for Justice Hill? Matt? Is there really that big of a difference to a defense where they're saying Derrick Henry's on the field on the goal line, they're gonna run it, and if Justice Hill is in there in his goal line, they're definitely gonna pass it? I mean, and you just finally switched it up on him and played your other card. I'm clueless. I don't know if it's just maybe it's even Justice Hill running a little harder or being the smaller guy so he can, kind of get
Mhm.
right in there, whatever. But I was unhappy that it was Justice Hill scoring because it was like, what is the difference? Was the defense just mad about how different, all of it was? I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, yeah. Good comment from XX Beast. I wanted to mention this and completely forgot. Bateman had a high ankle sprain today. You would assume he's probably gonna miss a couple games,
Wow.
as people usually do when they have a high ankle sprain. Um, Unfortunate there, but you'd hope maybe he misses the Browns and the Jets game and he's back after that. So
Wow.
that would be ideal, but high ankle sprains I feel like are usually 2 to 3 weeks. They can be 4
I was about to say,
sometimes.
I think 3 to 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So tough news for Bate there. Also had the catch on the 2-point conversion later in the game, so that was good to see. This drive here, Zach, about halfway through the third quarter, the Vikings turned the ball over on downs, and the Ravens had the ball 1st and 10 at the Vikings 38-yard line. And incomplete, 0-yard run, incomplete, missed 56-yard field goal. Like, the offense just was not a satisfying watch today, and getting the ball at the 38-yard line, and you don't even get a yard to make, like, to get a decently easy field goal for your kicker. I mean, that was pretty sad. Van Ginkel made a good play on a screen. He, like, got out there, and Lamar kinda had to throw it into the ground, and then just Derrick Henry couldn't run anywhere on the second down play. I don't know, man. Like, obviously, we gotta watch the game again, but I feel like it's almost hard to pinpoint the issue with the offense today. I mean, is it offensive line? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I put in my notes that Daniel Falele is still not good. Like, the play where they tossed it to Lamar on 3rd and 1, by the
Yeah.
way, great play call there.
Pretty sweet.
Like, Falele's not touching anyone. The screen early to Derrick Henry. Ravens are running a screen into the blitz. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna get 10, 20, 30 yards, but Daniel Falele can't block his guy, and that's the one guy there, and he makes the play. There's 3 or 4 times today where you just notice Falele almost being the reason that a play is ruined, and you don't see that happen. You see it happen maybe once a game from the other offensive lineman, but you see it happening 4 or 5 times a game from Falele, and I really just hope that they're really working Emory Jones up to hopefully play because, I mean, it has not looked good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like he is always going to have the target on his back until he really figures it out. It sucks. Even if he plays well, it just goes under the radar, and because there's just too much of a hate fan base for that. And it I hope that Emory Jones is the guy. I think Munkin had really good things to say about him, as in, like, he's kind of a dog. What's up, Chris? Up, Amir in the chat. Appreciate you guys for coming through. But I think we can all, as Ravens fans, agree that Faalele has just been, a total disappointment for the team. And he's, although he is still putting together, a good enough performance that we're winning games. It's not like he's like a loser out there. He's still a starting caliber offensive lineman. We're just hoping that Emory Jones comes in and saves us and transforms it. So I hope he does. But hey, if anyone's interested, Munkin had a press conference earlier this week and said he's kind of a dog. Said Emory Jones is basically a dog. And I'm excited because I feel like you wouldn't hype someone up like that unless you meant to at least experiment with him.
Yeah, the Ravens have a bit of a finesse offensive line right now. Rosengarten from Washington, like the Michael Penix, the spread offense. You have Ronnie Stanley, a very athletic left tackle. Linderbaum, a very small athletic center.
Yeah.
I'd say Voorhees is probably the most tenacious guy on the offensive line, and even he is not really that much of like a tenacious, like crazy offensive line type of guy. And then Daniel Falele is like the biggest offensive lineman of all time, and he has no tenacity in him. Like, you know what I mean? So Emory Jones,
when you say tenacity, what are you meaning?
It doesn't feel like they enjoy hitting the crap out of people.
Okay.
And I think most offensive linemen, high school, college, NFL, they love doing that. That's why they play the position. And I understand tackles not being like that. Like, number one priority is to protect your quarterback in the pass game. But like having, and Linderbaum's a great player, obviously. But when you're in a position where both of your guards and your center, the three of them, none of them play with that sort of tenacity offensive line feeling that you want to see, you got to get some of that in there. And Emory Jones has that. And you also go and look at his Instagram, like he hunts all the time. Like, he has the offensive line personality. So I feel like he could be a really good fit and push some people around in there. So I don't know. Like you said, they're doing enough to win the game. But forcing 3 turnovers. I mean, if the Ravens didn't force a turnover today, would they have won? Like that's something to think about. But we should talk about their one good touchdown drive because the Ravens had 2 touchdown drives today. One of them was 23 yards though, but the other one was a normal 11 play, 67-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Something that we're accustomed to seeing. 8-yard pass to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry had a couple receptions today, by the way.
Yeah, he did. 3 of them or something? Is
I
that
think
right?
so. PPR monster.
Stud.
Derrick Henry to the right for 14. Lamar Jackson to D-Hop for 9. Derrick Henry up the middle for 5. Derrick Henry up the middle for 8. Derrick Henry up the middle for 1. Derrick Henry to the right for 5. Derrick Henry to the right for 6. Keaton Mitchell to the right for 2. Lamar Jackson to the left for 7. These are all run plays. And then they hit a 2-yard touchdown pass to Mark Andrews. This leads in perfectly to something I wanted to mention, Zach. The Ravens today, 36 rushing attempts, 152 yards, 4.2 yards a carry. That is not insanely efficient, but they stuck with the run all game. And you see what happens. You eventually have a drive like this where you run the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in 10 plays? And you have a 67-yard touchdown drive. I mean, that's what happens when you don't give up on the run game. So that was great to see. 36 attempts. I just love seeing that number. That's like knowing that the Ravens ran the ball that much. I love to see that number.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had felt the pressure of, hey, if we're gonna score, I think we need to start passing. Seeing them just give it to Derrick Henry and them run it for maybe a yard over and over and over again, it was brutal. It was hard to watch. But overall, I think you're right. I think that the game plan, sticking to it and showing that you're not going to sway away from what your identity is and what they hope for it to be, that's impressive. And to be able to win along with that in a way that by the end of this game, it felt like we had dominated them by the end of the game. It felt like a dominant effort of a win. And I'm very proud of them for doing that. Cause I for one, I'm going to admit it. I just was not a part of that group later in the game where I was saying, yeah, I think when you start moving this ball a lot more in the air.
Yeah, for sure. And then on the flip side, the Vikings, 18 rushing attempts for 120. They averaged 6.7 yards a carry. And with a long just of 26, it's not like they had a 75-yard run in there. So I feel like on the flip side, the Vikings didn't stick with the run enough. I felt like there was a lot of plays where the Vikings are just having McCarthy throw it 3 times in a row. And I'm like, you guys have been running the ball pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about that with the Dolphins doing it too. And now the
Yes,
Vikings, we talked about it in the preview. That's crazy.
We literally talked about the Vikings should stick to running the ball.
Wow.
And because the Dolphins didn't stick to running the Dolphins, by the way, Zach. Your Dolphins.
Okay.
Destroying the Bills today.
Yeah, hey. They could be my Dolphins today.
We'll see if anyone talks about Josh Allen tomorrow on the national media.
He did put up 300 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He had 300 yards, but he had a couple of terrible turnovers.
So they might give him a pass. But still, they were mostly scoreless for that whole game.
Exactly.
It was very end of the game.
Exactly. Vikings turned it over on downs a lot today. So got a shout out to the defense. Nate Wiggins, by the way, Zach, led the Ravens in tackles today. With 7. Usually you don't see a tackle leader with only 7. It was very spread out today. The ball is being spread around in terms of making tackles on the defensive side. But anyway, shout out to Nate Wiggins for leading the Ravens in tackles. Nate Wiggins, by the way, asked the Ravens if he could shadow Justin Jefferson earlier this week, and they said no. But
no,
he looked good when he was on him. And I liked the Ravens' defensive game plan. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, 23 targets to the 2 of them, just 7 receptions total. So,
jeez,
that is a testament to the Ravens secondary and how well they played today. Wiggins, Humphrey, and Awuzie all gave up a couple of plays, but overall, I felt like all three of them played well. I think Hamilton played really well. I think Stark's PFF grade today was like 91, 92, something like that. So that's now 2 games in a row for Malachi Starks where you could argue he's been the best player on this defense. I don't know if I want to say he flipped the switch because he wasn't playing poorly, but he went from sort of being a non-factor, kind of just hanging around back
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
not making too many plays, to now he's been like a force, like I said, maybe the best player on defense the past 2 games. Obviously, Hamilton maybe a little bit more valuable with what he does near the line of scrimmage, but very
Yeah.
impressive from Starks, man.
And we've had conversations about, Wiggins being, top guy in the league. I am ready to put Kyle Hamilton into at least a vote getter for Defensive Player of the Year. I think Mina Kimes gave him a vote last year. This year, he is looking in the same direction, same trajectory, 100%. I cannot believe what he does for this team. Someone compared him to Lamar, but for the defense, and how important his job and jobs, I should say, with an S, because he's literally everywhere for the Ravens, doing whatever's asked and doing it extremely well. That it was one of the first plays of the game where Hamilton got through the line and had a clean shot at JJ McCarthy, and JJ delivered a sweet throw through it all. And I was like, well, JJ McCarthy might be better than I thought, but also not giving any credit to how well the Ravens are also using Hamilton right now. It's impressive.
Yeah, a comment from D Money. It's crazy the narrative for Lamar beating the Dolphins was relax. You beat the Dolphins. Now for Josh Allen, everyone is giving him a pass. We
Ooh.
100% agree with you, D Money.
And that's funny. That almost the exact comment was something on our Dolphins preview or something. Someone actually commented.
Yeah, someone did comment that.
That it was just like, hey, relax. It's the
Relax.
Dolphins.
Then they
I
go
wonder what
out
they're
and
saying about the
they
Bills.
they dominated Buffalo today. Absolutely dominated that game.
Killed them.
This tweet is from Jonas Schaefer, but this did come from the Ravens PR. The Ravens defense today had 14 PBUs, pass breakups today, versus the Vikings, which is the 4th most in a single game in franchise history. So looking at the individual stats, Travis Jones had 2 batted at the line. Travis Jones, by the way, had a sack, 3 quarterback hits.
He was a dog.
Beautiful game from Travis Jones today.
Can we say from the D line as well? Maybe the D line in general. Great game.
Yes, I think the D line did play pretty well. Hamilton had 2 PBUs. Awuzie had 1. John Jenkins also got 1 at the line.
Mhm.
Dang, a lot of. I am remembering them now because Okoye batted 1 at the line too.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys at the line of scrimmage.
Impressive.
Van Noy had a PBU. Gilman had a PBU. Starks had 1. Humphrey had 1. And Wiggins had 1.
You know who was hanging out around the quarterback a lot today?
Who?
New Dre Jones. He looked awesome. I
Yeah.
really liked seeing, where they use them, because even in the pregame stuff, they introduced him as an D line guy.
I know.
It
I was
wasn't
like,
an outside. I'm like, really? I don't know if they're accurate. They were playing him inside and out. I loved how they used him, and he was getting pressures like mad. It was fun to see him.
Just a lesson to everyone out there why you should never box score watch when you are a football fan or following football or whatever, because Dre Jones today, 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 TFLs, and he was a monster.
Yeah,
so just a little bit of a lesson there.
That's awesome.
He had 2 QB hits, a couple pressures. There was one, I think, very early on, beat the right tackle quickly and forced McCarthy to roll out and I think throw it away. So I think Bobby Tross had a tweet where he said something like, there's finally a guy that gets pressure on his own. It doesn't have to be manufactured for him. So awesome to see. Mike Green had a awesome run stuff today. I think I was like a -5-yard loss.
Yeah,
and sick. There were a couple times where I saw Mike Green beat his guy very quickly. He had 3 quarterback hits today. So I thought Mike Green looked good. I mean, for only 1 sack, I felt like the pass rush was solid today. Obviously credit to McCarthy. He's very good at escaping and, scrambling and getting out of there. Yeah. But I do feel like the pass rush was a little bit better today. Travis Jones got some push. And like we mentioned, Green and Dre Jones both looked pretty good too.
I think it was their touchdown drive at the end where
The
I think,
Vikings?
yeah, they got like Ravens got 3 guys in McCarthy's face and they all missed.
Oh, yeah.
That
Okay.
that was the most furious I was with not getting to him because it happened a lot today. I just wanted to add that because
Yeah.
that's a pressure I specifically was angry about.
I'm glad you brought that up, Zach, because while we're gassing up the defense, what's up, Wrigley? Let's talk about that series, Zach. So the Ravens were up 27-13, which all of you guys know, I'm sure, no one was satisfied with the 14-point lead halfway through the fourth quarter. Like, heck
Scared even.
no. Vikings start the series with a false start. By the way, you mentioned penalties, Zach. The Vikings had
100
13
yards there.
penalties. 13 penalties for 102 yards for Minnesota
Yep.
today. Um,
Yeah.
Ravens had 5 for 62. However, 40 of those 62 yards came on a terrible pass interference call on Chidobe Awuzie when they chucked it down to Justin Jefferson down the left sideline. Not PI, by the way. I will say that. Anyway, back to this final Vikings, second to last Vikings drive. 9-play, 65-yard touchdown drive. So McCarthy hit Addison for 26, and then they called the PI on Roquan. That was a good call. He shoved Aaron Jones before the ball even got there. Then McCarthy had an incomplete pass. And then, okay, Zach, so we can talk about this too. 2nd and 10 at the 35, Roquan dives over the middle, gets an awesome interception.
Oh,
This is the
yeah.
conversation of the pod here. That was a pick, right?
I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer. I don't think that was a
We
pick. No,
we
no.
have had just this season, Zach and I have had too many conversations trying to figure out what a catch is and trying to figure out what a catch isn't. And the Ravens are doing suicide sprints in the end zone.
Yeah, they were happy.
And at the
It
same
was
time,
awesome.
you hear the ref say, "Oh, it's incomplete." And I
Come
can't
on.
remember who was mentioning. I heard someone mention that, like, it is cool that they can overturn these plays so quickly now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if any of you guys agree with me, but, like, especially when that's called a catch on the field, I have seen that upheld a lot. Like that exact play where the ball hits the ground, moves a little bit maybe, but it feels like he does have control the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
It like the ball didn't bounce. So, I don't know if I feel like I'm pretty unbiased with these things. Like, for example, the last week we talked about a terrible chipping call on the Dolphins that should not have been a penalty. Like, I feel like I'm pretty unbiased with these things. I felt like that
Mhm.
was a catch. So, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. And then the Vikings have 3rd and 10 at the 35, incomplete. And then Zach, 4th and 10 at the 35. You talked about this play just a few moments ago.
Ugh, ugh.
The Ravens get pressure with like 3 guys coming from different directions. And McCarthy, who I mentioned is good at escaping the pocket, I don't even know if anyone touched him. Like he just ducked under a little bit, escapes and hits Naylor, who Wiggins had pretty good coverage on, and Naylor just made a good catch at the 7. And then you get 1st and goal, McCarthy gets 2 yards on a run. 2nd and goal, incomplete. 3rd and goal, incomplete. 4th and goal at the 5, false start again. So
Yeah.
then you have 4th and goal at the 10, and McCarthy
Inexcusable.
hits Naylor in the back of the end zone. And again, a great catch, but like you cannot give up. And listen, the Vikings were 2 for 5 on 4th down today. These were the 2 4th downs that they had. They didn't get 3 4th downs today. The Ravens turned the Vikings over on downs 3 times today. But when you're trying to close out a game, this is really my only complaint with the defense today. You cannot give up 2 basically 4th and 10s
Mm-mm.
on the same drive. Like that is not okay.
And 4th and 10, I think 4th and 10 is obviously more possible when it's from the 35. I think it's more possible. When you're backed up like that, I would say it's almost difficult to not get the stop on a 4th and 10 back
4th
there.
and
And
goal at the
you,
10.
yeah, 4th and goal at the 10,
Yeah,
and
that's
you're a
like
good defense. I think that's almost difficult. So maybe it was just an excellent play because I think Wiggins almost thought he stepped out of bounds. Maybe Naylor kind of got a lucky look or two, but Wiggins was pretty sold he stepped out or at least didn't catch it. So again, it doesn't help to say what you're saying, where it felt kind of scary again at the end of the game. It's a little different from the last couple weeks where, we were maybe comfortable by the end of it, but this time it was a little scared because it's a quality
Yeah.
team. We respect the
Yeah.
Vikings a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, then they go for 2, which is the technically correct analytical decision. I kinda understand both sides about that. For anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, the Vikings score, and then they're down by 8. They would make it. They would go down by 7 to kick the extra point, but the theory is you go for 2, and then maybe you'll be down by 6, you can win with an extra point. If you don't get the 2-point conversion and you're down 8, according to analytics, you're very likely to get at least one of the 2 two-point conversions. So
Hmm.
that's kinda why they do it. I don't really think of it that way. I think of it as I would rather
Me
just not.
neither.
I don't wanna be down 8. But we did see, I think the Jets beat the Bengals last week because they went for 2 in that situation, went down
Mm.
6, and then won with an extra point at the end. So it can go both ways. Um, the Ravens got the ball back up 8 with 1:39 left. Okay, Zach, I am gonna have something to talk about here that you might disagree with me on because
Uh-oh.
I talked about something similar to this a couple weeks ago and you disagreed with me. Clock management, okay? I am very serious about this stuff, guys.
There you are. Yeah.
The Ravens have a 14-point lead with one sorry. The Ravens have a
140.
14-point lead with 5:46 to go. 3rd and 17 at their own 7-yard line, okay? Everyone following. They pass the ball. I understand. Okay, 5:46, yeah, it's a lot of time. If you run the ball there, you're taking 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
You pass it, incomplete pass, clock is stopped. So instead of punting the ball with 5:01 left, they're punting the ball with 5:41 left. When you have a 14-point lead, that is very valuable time, okay? When you're down by 14, that's very valuable. Then you go to the Ravens' final drive when they're up by 8. Um, I will give them credit. They got a first down, which they very much needed to do. Um, and then they have 3rd and 4 at their own 35. 2 minutes left. Okay, this was at the 2-minute warning. They passed the ball. Incomplete. 155 left. The Vikings had no timeouts. If you run the ball here, you're punting. Excuse me. You're punting the ball away with 120 left. They punted the ball away with 155 left. So hold on now. If the Ravens ran the ball on that 3rd and 17, the drive prior, and ran the ball on this 3rd and 4, Zach, they would have been punting the ball with 40 seconds left instead of 155 left. That is malpractice clock management, in my opinion. I know you disagreed with me last time I talked about this. I think this situation is a little bit more egregious than the last time.
Okay, for this last drive, the last when we're up 8,
Mhm.
and there is it was the 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning.
I do appreciate the confidence. I think you do too. I appreciate the confidence of going for it by the pass, but and I assume they were pretty confident in doing that and completing that because I mean, you didn't think about giving them the ball back or a chance of it if this is batted down. There must have been a very slim chance to them, or at least what the Ravens thought. So if they don't have any timeouts and there's 2 minutes left, I think you have to run it. I don't.
If
I
they had
appreciate them, thinking of this as like yeah, we can chalk the game up here. But again, we just talked about identity earlier. We did talk
Mhm.
about, you've talked about that whole time situation. Knock off another 40 seconds, like just with a run. You might even get it. It was
Yeah,
3rd and
yeah,
4.
yeah,
That's
and
that's my only nitpick with it.
I'm glad
I
you
do appreciate the confidence though.
I'm glad you agree with me because I did too. And listen, guys, we bashed the Ravens when they lost to the Bills for running the ball 3 consecutive times. The difference is that was Josh Allen. This is JJ McCarthy. And if JJ McCarthy has 1 minute and no timeouts, down 8, you feel pretty good about your chances, right? So every game that has a different scenario. You got to think about it differently. You got to run the ball on both of those plays that I talked about. Um, Also, the jet sweeps in these critical situations. Zay Flowers The fumble was credited to Lamar, but I think it was more on Zay Flowers not securing it.
Me
That
too.
was on the 2nd and 10. They ended up getting 6 yards there. That was right before the 3rd and 4 play. The Ravens fumbled the ball 3 times today and lost none of them.
I don't like that.
You had the Lamar Zay exchange late. You had LeJontay fumbled a return that went out of bounds, and Keaton fumbled like a 7 or 8 yard run that went out of bounds.
They're out of bounds.
The Keaton one was actually kind of funny because his own knee forced the fumble. Like he was tripping up a little bit and his knee popped the ball out, but forced 3 turnovers and got lucky with 3 fumbles, and you didn't lose any of them. I understand why some people might. And look, I don't think either of us feel great about this win. I don't feel great about this win. I am satisfied that they won it in maybe a bit of an unconventional way, at
Mm-hmm.
least to the
That's not
Ravens
good.
standards. They don't usually force 3 turnovers. Like,
Right.
that was cool to see, and this blitz didn't really affect the offense too much. I know the offense couldn't really move the ball a ton, but it didn't really feel like it was because every single 3rd and long, they couldn't get a completion because they couldn't beat the sticks coverage blitz or the cover 0 blitz. Also, shout out to the defense. Vikings get the ball with 144 left, down 8, and they only get to their own 40-yard line. So, shout out to the defense, man. Keon Martin was playing a little bit at the end of this one. Did Gilman maybe get banged up or Humphrey get banged up a little bit? But Keon Martin, I think I noticed make a couple plays on this final drive. When a team has no timeouts, it's going to be tough. If you tackle them in bounds, you're chilling. So
And the Martin
they
stuff was all happening because Marlon was out, I guess.
it was either Marlon or Gilman. I'm not sure. Was it
But
Marlon?
still, yeah, I thought so. I didn't know Gilman
Uh-huh.
was. I didn't think he was out. But still, I'm impressed that they can trust someone like Martin to go in there and
Yeah, and
close it out with the team.
he struggled in the Texans game. Yeah, when the Ravens got beat 44 to 10
A
to the
lot of people
Texans.
struggle.
But when Keon Martin has come in these little spurts and had to fill in, he's looked pretty good. So
Yeah.
shout out to him. And obviously the Ravens just had to kneel out the ball one time after they got a stop on 4th and 4. Zay Flowers today, 4 catches, 75 yards. I feel like Zay Flowers has 75 yards every single game.
Yeah. He's got to average that, right?
Yeah,
What's
you
the
would think.
average? I gotta find it.
Lamar today was 17 of 29, 176, 1 touchdown, 87 passer rating. Did what he had to do. Derrick Henry, 20 carries for 75 yards, 3.8 yards a carry. But listen, Zach, we already talked about this. I love seeing 20 carries from Derrick Henry, even if he's only averaging 3.8. That's what you got to do. Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes, seeing if there's anything else. Oh, the Marlin pick. We didn't mention that. That was a one-on-one ball to Jefferson. I have no problem with that throw from McCarthy. You get one-on-one with Jefferson.
Right.
There's
Oh,
no
for
one else in the middle
sure.
of the field, but Jefferson
100%.
tripped. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Bad luck.
but obviously good play. Marlon still have to catch the ball, and you're a DB. And he returned it to like the 40 or something after walking around waiting for his blocks for a little bit there. Let's see what else. Going through these team stats here. So the Ravens had 23 first downs today. That's a decent number for how bad we feel. The offense didn't play bad, but
It was just sloppy.
yeah. Vikings had 18 first downs. Third down efficiency.
Wow.
Ravens 6 for 15. That's not awful, but you like for it to be better than that. Vikings 3 of 14 on third down. So guys, Ravens today forced the Vikings to go 3 of 14 on third down and 2 of 5 on fourth down. So you love to see that. Vikings had more total yards than the Ravens today. The Vikings had 365 to Baltimore's 321. The Vikings also averaged 6 yards per play, while the Ravens averaged 4.9. And the Ravens won time of possession by about 5 minutes. So that is good as well. Zach, what are some other takeaways you have, if any, from the game today?
I do love just shedding light on the special teams when I can. Loop getting 4 field goals, I love that. It was a bummer he missed a 56, I think. And other than that, though, returning game was great. You mentioned at the very, very beginning of this. I was just very impressed with their performance. It felt like they made the big play, including the fumble that totally changed the game. The next kick return, they also forced a fumble. By the way, it finally didn't bounce our way. We were getting too lucky and ahead of ourselves. But overall, I mean, you can see 3 returns from Wester, 1 from Hill, 1 from Mitchell, and a great game, whether it was Stout or Loop. It felt like they still won on all 3 facets of the ball, but it was just an uglier way of doing it, where the offense was just far, far sloppier than we're used to seeing. And very, very fortunate the ball literally bounced our way a couple times, and we pull out a big win.
Yeah, man. Overall, a solid victory. You'd obviously like to see the offense perform better, get some longer drives going, but defense has now played well for 4 weeks in a row. Obviously the quarterback play has not exactly been there. You go from Allen, Goff, Mahomes, Stroud, who is good when healthy, to Caleb Williams, Tua, and McCarthy. So you are going to play better, but I think they look better than they even did if they would have played these quarterbacks in September. Obviously, the Ravens improved to 4-5. Steelers are about to kick off against the Chargers. Obviously, you need a Chargers win tonight. Next 2 games, Zach, at Cleveland versus Jets. So obviously hoping to get to above 500 2 weeks from now. That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is going to be all for us tonight, guys. Let's go ahead and shout some of you guys out. Charles was the first one in here. Shout out to Charles. David, XX Beast, Andrew G, Khalil, Mad Rasta, Nate Blake, Eli, D Money. Anyone else? Oh, Chris was in here. Amir was in here. Sutton was in here.
Yeah, we had a
Wrigley.
squad in here.
Good comment from XXB. Bolt up, guys. Bolt up.
Bolt up.
The Chargers get the dub
Chargers
tonight. If anyone is still watching, please hit the like button. Helps us out a ton. Hit the subscribe button if you are not subscribed. Zach and I are here 3 nights a week. And yeah, Ravens get the dub, improved to 4-5 on the season, 27-19 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Have a good week, everybody. See you next time. Peace.